This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com.
Let's keep it going here and let's talk about the one night only pay-per-view. September 20th, Birmingham, England. It's a UK only pay-per-view. Shawn's going to defeat the European champion Davey Boy Smith to win the European title and become the company's first ever Grand Slam champion. He's got all kinds of illegal help here from Hunter Hearst Helmsley, Rick Rude, and China. And sadly, Bulldog had dedicated this match to a family member, his sister, who was being treated for cancer at the time. She's seated ringside along with Bulldog's wife, mother. This is quite the scene. The crowd is raucous, and most folks believe that when the card was booked with this on top, Davey Boy was supposed to win, and allegedly Shawn tried to work behind the scenes to get it changed. And I guess in a conventional sense, this is heat, brother. But I don't know, with the match being dedicated to someone going through cancer treatments, maybe not the best booking. What can you tell us about this?
I'm sure that Davey Boy shared the plan with his family to some degree. His sister, by the way, would die not that long afterwards. She was terminally ill, and it was going to be a happy time for her because she'd get a little spotlight on her, and Davey would win and get his hand raised and all that good stuff. And I think I mentioned on one of our shows here lately, I thought that match was in Manchester, but it wasn't. I'm not debating you, but I remember it being full house.
They did the return in Manchester. So you're partially right. April 4th, 98 is when they're going to come back. And I guess the thinking was we'll have Davey lose here, but then get his revenge and win it back when we come back April 4th, 1998. I guess in theory that makes sense. But my goodness, she's right there ringside.
Well, he did get Shawn and Hunter, I'm sure, right there with him. Made a valid points to Vince and in their estimation, their view, and Vince accepted those things to change the creative. A lot of people were disillusioned about that finish because it was just so one-dimensional. And a lot of talents don't know how to protect themselves or aren't motivated to protect themselves. So it becomes just a one-sided affair. And that's kind of what this was, because all the heat and all the star power, all the sizzle was going to Shawn and his crew. And they proved there that they changed the finish. They were able to manipulate and change a finish that looked to be unchangeable. You know, we're dealing with real life death in this matter. So I think that it was sad how that went down. And it would have been great for the young lady to have that moment and plan to go on as proceeded. And think of the times in WWE annals where you end a pay-per-view event, even though that was a UK only pay-per-view, still a pay-per-view with that much heat. Normally there's happy endings.
Right.
Or if the heel goes over, it's not to that level. They had atomic heat. There was a lot of unrest in the crowd that night, Conrad. And sometimes that can become a little distracting. So, but in any event, that's what it was. But it just showed that Shawn and Hunter together had a lot of muscle. And they, both of them have great booking minds, quite frankly. And they were able to change Vince's mind. And you can look, pro wrestling is so subjective. There's a lot of right ways to get something done. I can give you a reason that you should have put Davey over, and I can give you a reason that it was good for Shawn to go over.
Right.
So but the issue there was, this is how much strength we have and how much influence we have with the old man, which only proved to the other talents, this is a dangerous scenario because we've got now two top guys that are involved in the booking process. And what they say or they potentially can say, can affect my career. It may be not so much of a popular way, a positive way.
I think the issue was the lack of communication. Diana Hart did an Inside the Ropes event in June of 2012, and she says, you have to do what you're told. I thought, those bastards, why are they doing this to him? And in England, where does it leave him? And Bret Hart wrote about it in his book. He says, as I pretended to help the wounded Davey back to the dressing room, we passed Davey's sister Tracy, who was terribly upset and crying. I thought, in wrestling, never make a promise you can't deliver. I saw the light die in Davey's eyes that day, darkness seeping out of the heart and giving out. And Dave Meltzer would write, while this all made sense, it was rather strange he wasn't approached with the idea until just the start of the show. I could see how there's a lot of hurt feelings to go around on the other side. Did you have conversations with Davey Boy about this?
Not really. No, I had conversations with other members of the Hart family. What are you going to say?
Right.
Sometimes it's better left unsaid, because I can't give him any solace. I can't give him any peace of mind. I can't say, well, look at it this way, Davey. There's nothing to look at, and again, the plan was very clearly defined long before arriving into Birmingham. So it's just, there's nothing I could have said that would have eased the pain. Well, it'll be okay. We'll take care of you on the payoff. Yeah. Nothing to say.
How bad did you hate dealing with Shawn Michaels in this era?
It was challenging. Here's the sad part about it. I didn't have the love affair that Vince did with him, but I had a big, great deal of respect for him since the first day I met him at the Irish Neil Boys Club in Shreveport, when Jose sold him the Cowboy sight unseen. And we put him riding with Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson, because we knew they would take care of him and get him laid, and make him have fun and be happy. And he could learn how to be a baby face. Anybody, even in today's market, if you really want to look at tag team wrestling and exchanges and transfer points and segues, they're still as good as anybody. And their tapes are there forever. And of course, the biggest thing for Ricky is that, I never refereed or announced primarily that could sell as well as Ricky Morton.
Right.
So Shawn picking up all those traits was a good thing in our estimation. So back to the point, I go back with him since day one, and there is a little kinship there, and I do have great respect for him. But I've seen over the years that he can be very negatively influenced by some people. And that has always been a bother to me, because I always believed, and I still believe this, he has a very good heart. And I think he tormented himself by some of his behavior. But it was daunting and challenging to deal with him, because every action that he would do created numerous and multiple reactions from the talent. Again, they see a champion who's getting his great push, who's going to be making the most money, and he has the booker, the creator, the owner's ear. And that latter statement is the one that the talents worry about the most, because he can influence my creativity, my creative. And that was a tough one to always have to deal with those issues. So it was challenging to deal with Shawn. But the thing about it is, I would get upset like he was a son,
right,
or something like that, but never hate, never anger into that regard. I get frustrated more than I would get angry. And what the angry part came in when you had to go back and mend all these fences. That was hard. So he was one of the more challenging talents I ever managed or tried to manage. And I don't know how good a job I did of that.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.